We're Tracy and James McCoy, and this is the Fish Slap Effect podcast. Where leaders, creators, and disruptors collide. Each week, we bring you honest conversations about business, marketing, leadership, creativity, and the bold ideas that help people stand out in a noisy world. Whether you're building a brand, growing a business, or looking for fresh inspiration, you're in the right place. Let's make a splash.
Hello there, Tracy.
Hello there, James.
Do you know that word of mouth does not scale?
You know, word of mouth is tough because
It doesn't scale.
it doesn't scale.
But do you know what does scale?
What?
Great marketing.
It sure does.
That said, welcome to the Fish Slap Effect podcast, where creators, leaders, disruptors, whatever order you want to put it in, collide. I'm James.
And I'm Tracy.
And we are here to talk about today why word of mouth isn't enough anymore. People like referrals. They do. We like referrals.
We love referrals.
But, you know, when you give a referral, those people turn around and usually Google it anyway. Just
100%.
to make sure. So, word of mouth. Let's talk about it. Word of mouth gets you in the conversation, but it doesn't close the sale.
Well, word of mouth, like you had mentioned at the beginning, isn't completely scalable. So when you think about word of mouth, it's so important to have a great reputation.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's all you have to help drive and build your funnel, then, and that's solely what you're relying on, if that dries up, you're going to run into so many different peaks and valleys in your business. And you're just like relying solely on that. It can be really scary where, you know, like all of a sudden, nobody's calling or nobody's walking into your shop because that little pipeline has kind of run dry.
So executive producer Ace, whether he knows it or not, he's provided me with a lot of statistics. So I'm going to lay them out there to you. So annually, about 2,000 people move to Highlands County. About 234 of them are international. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Thank you, executive producer Ace. There are a total of 2,100 employee businesses in Highlands County. Those are businesses that actually have employees, like more than two. And then there's 8,100 non-employee businesses, so that have two employees or less, like mom and pop's companies. So if you add those up, you're right around 10,000, 10,100. You know, there's averaging, not counting the snowbird effect, keeping it in there, about 100,000 people in the county. So word of mouth, referrals. I mean, I know there's the, you know, my regulars. My stats are nowhere on that paper. You can look.
I was like, wait
They're
a
off
minute.
the top of my head.
Wow, that is impressive.
Anyway,
Impressive.
You know, a lot of folks like to lean into their regulars doing referrals. You know, the old saying, you know, today's unknown is tomorrow's regular. And with all the new people coming in, it's very easy to lose that lift like you were talking about with word of mouth if that's all you're depending on.
Yes.
Profound. So what can we do to back up word of mouth? What do you got? You got anything on page 2 there? I do.
No, let's see.
What can we back up our word of mouth with? I can tell you if you don't want to say it.
So one would be
Yep.
making sure that your Google business profile is claimed and optimized fully.
Okay, so optimized for us uneducated guys like me. What do you mean? You mean like
so think about it this way. I gave you homework and it was fill in the blanks and you had to fill out that entire piece of homework because I think from now until probably the next, at least probably decade and a half of my life, I'll be making school analogies with the kids.
Okay.
But when we think about it, your Google business profile, Apple Business Connect, these online profiles that are so important to your reputation are basically like getting a fill in the blank homework. And you've got to fill out all the pieces and to the puzzle, and you've got to make sure it's filled out completely. So when we think about optimizing, we're making sure that we're filling everything in that we can possibly fill in, that we're choosing appropriate categories for our business. So like, for example, if your business services two different types of industries, like let's say that you are an AC company and you also sell generators, and you can have multiple categories on your Google business profile, that you're a generator dealer and that you're an AC company. However, only one can be primary. So that's where businesses kind of get frustrated sometimes. They're like, I don't show up for blank as much as my competitors do. And you have to look at those primary categories and ensure that you're properly categorized. So there's all these little pieces to make sure all those pieces are in the right place. And that's when we talk about optimization. That's what we mean.
And there's all these things that Tracy mentioned, whether it's like if it is your Google business profile, and I am pro Google, I will come out and say that right now. So now if you have company A and you have company B, and company A has a logo picture, they have a cover picture, they're updating pictures, they're doing Google business profile posts every 7 days, versus company B that's not. When a newbie or a regular or a snowbird or whoever comes back into the area and they Google you, it's naturally company A is going to show up in front of company B. So these are just, free and easy things that you can do as a business owner to help your searchability.
Well, and also think beyond Google too, because there are other really big platforms
Oh,
out
yeah.
there that are listing platforms. So you have Apple, which is Apple's Business Connect, where you can claim your Maps profile.
Yep.
So especially if your business is something that someone's looking for driving directions to, a lot of people confuse your Google map with their Apple Maps because so many people are iPhone users, and there's so many instances where that location could be incorrect or your information's not pulling properly, and they're on different basically in different buckets as far as where they get their data from, Google and Apple. So it's important that you claim that. And then you have Bing, that's another one where you can go in and you can owner verify your listings. So when we think about our online presence as a whole, these are things from a local SEO perspective that you can do to make a big impact, and that also help all of our friend little AI robots out there find your business.
Mm-hmm. And I know it could sound like daunting and a lot of work. So, oh my goodness, I got Google, I got Bing, I got Yelp, I've got Apple Business Connect. I mean, at minimum, claim them and
100%.
then work them into your daily routine. So maybe some homework: claim and verify your listings, add 5 real photos to like your Google business profile, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure your hours are correct, your services. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I've talked to a prospective client or a new client, and we review their services, and they either go, no, we don't do that anymore, or they say, no, we really don't like to do that anymore, or worse yet, they'll say, we'll do it, but we really don't make any money on it. So why would you even want to have it listed? Maybe that's, to your point, you focus on your primary.
Exactly.
And then when you're in the pitch or you're in the conversation, you can mention all the other things that you do. Let's talk about reviews. That's like a digital version of word of mouth. Be visible to strangers. There you go. Not just your existing circle. So when we talk about reviews, they're great to get. It's really even better if you respond to them, right?
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
I mean, I heard there's an urban legend, even if they're a bad review and you respond to them, it helps your algorithm on Google. I heard that. I don't know how true it is, but
Oh, yeah, because you're responding.
out in these mean
Mhm.
streets, I've heard it. Anyway,
It's rough out there on those digital
it
streets,
is,
isn't it,
but
James?
all kidding aside, I mean, I was visiting with a potential client today, and they had 50 5-star reviews. Amazing. That's great. Incredible. They didn't respond to any of them. It's like, come on, respond to those reviews. And those also can become great pieces of content as well that you can use on your social or anywhere you want to feature them. Put them on your website. We know we have some clients that put them on their website and they scroll.
And it's
Um,
great. It's great to build trust signals by putting reviews on your website, and it helps establish trust and helps
Back
people,
to the bots.
yeah, back to the bots.
The
But I
bots
mean,
like them.
the bots love them. And when you respond, then people know that you're engaged in your business. And even if it is a negative review, there's so many trolls out there too that, when you do respond, people can see through that, especially if you're replying to your amazing reviews that you're getting.
And even today, real life example, I was talking to a prospective client and I'm like, well, how did you hear about us? What brought you to us today? And all the places you could go, this and that. And the lady was like, you know what? I went over your website and I checked your reviews and I knew you were the one for us. Boom. Powerful. So definitely, if you have those, even if you already have existing reviews and you haven't, you can go back and answer them. You can go back in time and answer them. It still counts. And I know it's really hard. I know for me personally, it's a challenge for me to ask people to give us reviews. A natural part of the conversation is, let's say you're working with so and so who's the client, and they go, oh, if there's anything we could ever do for you guys, you did such a great job. Thank you. Perfect opportunity. You can just
Yep.
leave us a review. Make it easy for them. If you have people in the field, the easier you can make it, the better. I know several of our clients, they're out there in the field with QR codes where they just hold them up. But hey, if you want to scan this now, if you think how great this lawn tree, bug service, whatever service it is, give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate it, or give us a rating, or a
Mhm.
review. We would appreciate it. So anything else you'd like to add to the review world?
No, I think you covered it all. I mean, that's a great tip is making those QR codes and going out there and getting that in front of people at the right time so that they don't forget to do it.
And I think it's the way you approach it too. I mean, if you make it very fun, you make it very lighthearted, or you make it a challenge to your team, as opposed to you better do this or else, I think is a huge win. And I know people openly trust me. Out of all these years in business, people want to give you their opinion. They want to give you their rating. And sometimes it stings, sometimes some of the stuff, but you let it roll off your back and know that if you're gonna respond to it and respond to it appropriately, it's going to help your algorithm and help your search. So review away.
Yeah, and don't let being afraid of getting a negative review paralyze you from asking people for reviews. Because I think, like it's normal for you not please everybody. Like we can't make every single person happy, but I think it's all about how you respond and how you're able to manage it, and like all that fun stuff versus just having 5 stars and you're 100% perfect. Because, and in all honesty, like nobody's
That's
perfect.
true.
So
And maybe give yourself a little break. I'm sure every one of you out there in podcast land have at least 5 happy customers that you could say, hey, I know we've been doing business forever, but if you could hook us up with a review, we'd really appreciate it. It's going to help us keep the business moving forward, keep our prices friendly, et cetera, et cetera. And they're going to do it. So, hey, how about some more homework? Maybe text or email 5 happy customers with the direct link to give you a review. And then you get the reviews, you respond, and you're good. And it doesn't take that long. Helpful hint from your Uncle James: have your responses in your notes, not like mild, medium, and hot. If either where you can just copy and paste like the intro and the outro, and then you just have to type in the middle, and you can get it done fast.
yeah.
So you don't have to sit there and go, "Gosh, what do I say?" Et cetera, et cetera. So we've got Google Business Profile. We got reviews to support your word of mouth referrals. Local and community groups. I don't know where you're going to fall on this because I know you're
So
not a big fan.
so personally,
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand all the trolls in the
Mm-hmm.
community groups.
That's
They just
fine.
drive me up a
Fine.
wall. But
Fair
I
enough.
do think they can be great places to share and grow your business. Like I always keep an eye on the groups and see if our business gets tagged in anything or anything like that, or if I see a client of ours get tagged in a post so that we can let them know, or like we can jump into the conversation. So I do think it's beneficial. A lot of people are looking for recommendations in these community groups. They're like, who's the best doctor? Who's the best landscape or tree person? I need this. I'm in search of this. So instead of Googling it or searching it, they're looking for that first party reference. So being a part of the groups and engaging in them is great. A lot of them don't allow advertising, or they do it on certain days of the
Once a
week.
week. Yeah.
So, I think it's really important though as an individual, especially if you own a business, to join them and to just be part of the conversation where it's appropriate, and just make sure. I always say I err on the side of professionalism in those groups, because anything you say is going to be reflecting on you as a business owner. So there can be a lot of drama in some of those community groups. So, like personally for me, I try to stay out of the drama and try to stay on the positive side when it comes to that stuff.
So whether it's a community group or whether it's a local social group, to Tracy's point, it's good to keep your finger on the pulse. Maybe throw things out there every so often. All depends on your industry too. Like for example, there's certain industries, like I don't know, pick one out of the sky, like metal buildings or sheds. They all do a lot of business in these groups. So if you are monitoring and you see some of your competitions in there, you might have to go over your own bias and say, yeah, I really don't like to get in the middle of this, but I need to put something out there just to stay
Well,
competitive.
yeah, and they're good to really like just keep a pulse and watch like what people are asking questions about, because that's where you have the opportunity as a business. Like if you have a service-based business and people are looking for a certain kind of service, that's when you're able to jump in and throw your information out there. And also the greatest part about this that I think is awesome is that when people recommend your business, you're able to go in and say thank you, to those people and like those comments and say, like, hey, thanks, James, for recommending me. I really appreciate it. And by going back and doing those little steps as well, I mean, that just adds even more credibility and also helps the algorithm too. So those are all just great ways to get discovered and people to see your name over and over and over again as people recommend you and you reply back, thank you.
That's a great point. I mean, we really didn't touch on it on the whole recommendation piece, but that happens a lot on Facebook and it happens a lot on all these other platforms. But I'm just going to use Facebook for my example. This week, a newer client, a newer business in town, two different people, two different occasions referred the business's services. And to your point, being able to jump on there and say, thank you, we appreciate it. They even bounce back. I can't believe you just responded so quickly. How do you have time during the workday to do it? Obviously they didn't do it. We were doing it, but that's beside the point. But that's a huge place, because when you start to pull up these businesses and you look at, like, right before you go in and they hit about or look at them, you can see how many recommendations they have. So if somebody's new or something's new and you're like, I'm not too sure, but then you see all these recommendations, you're going to be more apt to engage and to check it out. So you got your Google business profile we talked about, reviews, joining some groups. So maybe the homework is join one active group, monitor it. If you want to participate, fine. If you don't want to participate, that's okay too, and go from there. So some takeaways, make sure that you've claimed your Google business profile, ask for some reviews, join Tracy was just swatting a bug away. It's okay. We're all right. Maybe join some groups, participate, don't participate. It's up to you. And see where it takes you. I mean, I'm not in any way, shape, or form diminishing word of mouth. I think I'm just wanting to encourage all of you to enhance your word of mouth.
Well, and just think about too, like with word of mouth, how it is probably the best way to sell your business. Like, not sell literally, but like
understand
for people to
build
want to
business.
work with you, to build business. And when you think about that, though, it's fantastic and it's your top lever that you have. However, you've got to keep that funnel full. And you can't do that with word of mouth alone because it's so unpredictable. So having these other pieces in place and then having a strong, cohesive advertising strategy is really helpful to make sure that you're able to keep your funnel full and you have new leads coming in and that it's consistent and that you don't hit those droughts because you're not staying consistent.
That's true. Good job. Way to wrap it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So really thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Maybe put a subject matter you'd like to talk about in the comments. I know this is kind of a short episode, but we've got to get in the pickup line.
Yep. Time to go pick up the kids from
We're
school.
either dropping them off or we're picking them up.
I'm sure all of you can relate that are watching that are parents of small children, medium-sized children, older children, all the children, but always running around trying to find time.
We're going to cut her off. So anyway,
yes.
Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions about anything we talked about, let us know, and we'd be more than happy to chat with you and help you to continue to make a splash.